What's going on, people, and welcome to Man Knows Football. You are here with Guni for a Premier League preview between Chelsea and Burnley at Stamford Bridge this weekend in what might be a very interesting Premier League weekend for the top of the table, because elsewhere there are some very challenging games for the other title contenders. Will they pass the test, or will they slip up even further after what happened last week? But before I do get into the content, make sure you do like, share, subscribe. Leave your thoughts down there in the comments as well. And also, I need a big favor from you guys. I'm about 40 subscribers away from hitting 3K. So please help me make that happen. Continue to share. Continue to do what you're doing, man. Because whatever it is that you're doing, it's working and it's madly appreciated by myself. So love to all of you. But we are here for Chelsea versus Burnley at Stamford Bridge this weekend. And we did have word from the gaffer, Mr. Thomas Tuchel, and I will be starting off with that. So if you didn't hear what the gaffer had to say, do not fear. Guni with the Chelsea news is right here. And we are going to start with the injuries. So no difference on the injury front with our attackers. Timo Werner and Lukaku will still be out for this game. Although there is a little update on Romelu Lukaku on his personal side. He did tweet something along the lines of on Twitter where he did say that he was going to try and go for a run and see how it feels. But I think most of us kind of knew that the target for our attackers to be coming back will be after the international break. So it's not really a surprise that he won't be featuring against Burnley. Also, Kovacic still injured, as Thomas Tuchel did say last week. He did overtrain him, and as a result, he'll be out for the next few weeks. So hopefully we'll be able to see Kovacic back after the international break as well. We know what kind of form Kovacic was in before he got injured. Marcos Alonso did get an injury towards the end of the Malmo game, but he did try and train. He did try and go back to training, but unfortunately, when he did try and put a bit of weight on his ankle, he wasn't able to continue. And obviously, you know the stress of football training. It's a lot of work on your joints. Marcos Alonso sat that out, and as a result, he will not be involved in the match day squad. Aside from that, we have got our Captain America back. Yes, Christian Pulisic will be back in the squad. He did feature against Malmo, albeit he did have a terrible miss, but we're going to blame him for that. You get me? He hasn't really touched the pitch for a little bit. So, it'll be good to see man like Christian Pulisic back. Mason Mount will also be returning back to the squad. We were all quite baffled. Why didn't he return to the squad? Mason Mount is ill. What's wrong with him? Some of us thought it was the big COVID. You get me? But it turned out that it was an issue with his wisdom tooth, which can be very painful. Thomas Tuchel did say that it was bothering him, and as a result of the pain, he wasn't able to eat and therefore has lost some weight. So we do wish Mason Mount to recover and get that sorted, because Thomas Tuchel said that there still does need to be some treatment done on that side. So expect to see Mason Mount in and out of the squad in that time while he's getting some treatment. But hopefully he can get better soon. But in terms of the injury front, that is it for now. So we can move on to the game. We're going to talk about our opposition. Burnley. Mr. Sean Dyche, you get me? That man been there since 2012, I believe. So that's like 9 years, you get me? So he's got a lot of history with Burnley. I don't think he's ever going to leave that club. I don't think they're going to fire him. He's been there that long and he's done a fantastic job for Burnley, who are actually I think they've had the second lowest budget in the Premier League for like a long time, and they've managed to stay up. So props to Burnley. But what do we know about Burnley? How are they going to face us over at the Bridge? Well, we do know that Burnley, they don't really change from their back four, and I'm not expecting them to change from their back four against us. So Burnley, we know the kind of team that they are. They're not the most glamorous team. They're a very physical team and they're very good at it. They're very strong aerially, and they don't really play the brand of football that people like to watch, but it is effective for them. What do I mean by that? They play a lot of long balls. They like to hit their long balls up to their forward, Chris Wood, who is very good at winning them aerial balls, knocking them down. And Burnley are also very good at winning them second balls as well. They have this thing where, like, once they hit a ball into that area, they crowd out that area with those players. So when the second ball does fall, chances are they do win it. So that's why Burnley are so successful at winning aerial balls and winning the second balls as well. They've also got man like Dwight McNeil, who they look to make a lot of chances through. You get me? So what usually is that they'll knock the ball straight to Chris Wood. Forget all that playing from the back shit. Knock it straight up to Chris Wood. Hopefully he'll get it down. Play it into Dwight McNeil. Chris Wood would obviously make the run into the box. And then their partnering striker with Chris Wood will sort of drop back into that second striker / number 10 position as well. And I'm expecting that to be Cornet, who has actually had a very good season for Burnley. Has been one of Burnley's shining lights this season, although they haven't really had a great season. But has been one of their more positive players. But yeah, that's really Burnley in a nutshell. And then we know when it comes to the defending as well, they're going to do that narrow 4-4-2 shit, where whichever side of the field the ball is on, they're going to just move on that side as a unit. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a very, very tough game. Another game where we're going to have to use our wit to break them down. But you get me, we faced a more difficult challenge, and we've still only conceded 3 goals in the Premier League. Can I see Burnley getting a goal against us? Certainly not. We've played against bigger, we've played against better, we've played at more difficult grounds. We're at home, for goodness sake. Confidence is high. We're at the top of the table, and we're doing this with no strikers. We're doing this with no strikers, and I believe it's going to be business as usual again against Burnley. And it's not even a disrespect to them. I just believe the quality of Chelsea Football Club is way too much under Thomas Tuchel. I mean, you're seeing what he's doing with the club. And that brings me on to Chelsea Football Club. What am I expecting from this game? Well, I'm expecting very good use from our wing backs, because this is a game against a team who like to defend the centre of the pitch. So they do like to play quite narrowly. They do like to win. They do like to play them long balls. And when they do go for that goal, they can push up a bit and sort of press as a unit. So getting in behind Burnley, there will be opportunities to do that as well. I believe that we've got the wing backs to stretch them. Also, listen, chances, they may come few and far between this game, and we're going to need to be clinical. And yes, Kai Havertz was not signed as a striker. I'm not going to be too harsh on his finishing ability, because that is not his primary role. But we're going to need some sharpness in front of goal. We're going to need to take them opportunities as they come. Playing them high balls into the box with Tarkowski and me in there, it's gonna be difficult. Kai Havertz, yes, we do know he's a big man. He's very good aerially as well when he does get his head at the end of the ball. But it's gonna be a very, very big challenge. This is another welcome to the Premier League sort of game for Kai. If he doesn't like physical play, he's gonna have to shake that off against Burnley, because that's all he's gonna get for 90 minutes. My lineups. What am I going to say with a lineup? Obviously, world-class goalkeeper. The best goalkeeper in the world currently for me, Mr. Edouard Mendy. You get me? Edouard Mendy in the sticks. And then you've got the wing backs. Well, we've only got one choice at left wing back, and that is Ben Chilwell. He is not a bad choice to have, I must say, but fingers crossed he doesn't get injured as well. You get me? Then we've got the centre-back trio. We're going to have to be solid as a rock back there, and I'm talking no pussies available. You get me? Not that we've got any in our squad, but I want our hardest of the hardest back three. Obviously, the number one name. I can hear you all saying it. Who's the number one centre-back going in that position? Come on, bruv. War-ready Rudiger, you get me? Rudiger, ready for war, relishes these kind of games. He is probably just like... He's probably like Christmas Eve to him. You get me? He's probably relishing this game and looking forward to the physical challenge that's coming for, with him and Chris Wood. So I'm going to enjoy that, watching that personal battle myself. So definitely Rudiger. Who else? But the marvellous Thiago Silva. The marvellous Thiago Silva has to play there. And as well, the big and the brave Danishman, Andreas Christensen. Yes, back in the day, I never would have said anything of the sort about Andreas Christensen. But since Tuchel has come in, the mentality has changed. He stepped out from becoming that sort of that boy man sort of transition, and now he's become a man. You get me? Andreas Christensen will be up for the aerial challenges. He has been absolutely majestic at them. You get me, under Tuchel. And then my right wing back. Who do you think I'm gonna go for? Yes, man, like Reece James. His form speaks for itself. Need I say more? Does he meet what I was just talking about, the kind of football we need to play against Burnley? Certainly he does. And I'm expecting Reece James to have another brilliant game tomorrow. And our midfield pivot. You know what, yeah? I would like to try something different. I would like to try and go with Kante and Ruben Loftus-Cheek this time. I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek needs to start. I just love to see his dynamism in that midfield, man. He just brings that dynamic that Kovacic brought to the team. Just press resistant, also doing his defensive duties quite well. But as well, it's just as strong going forward, even better going forward as well. And I just think, you know, Loftus-Cheek on the kind of form that he's in, I think he deserves more minutes to just carry on improving, because the improvement that this guy has made, because look, a lot of people thought he was over for him. He was getting loan moves to Fulham and people thought it wasn't happening, but he's come back in the squad and he's made a case for himself again. Hopefully he can get, well, arguably he's already back to his old self, so what needs to happen from now is just gradual improvement, which I'm confident we will see under this manager for Loftus-Cheek. So I would like to see Kante and Loftus-Cheek in that middle. And then the front three, it's going to have to be Callum Hudson-Odoi on the left wing. I said on back again I'd put him on the right, but I changed my mind overnight. So I'm putting Callum Hudson-Odoi on that left wing. The guy's been absolutely electric there. He hasn't done nothing wrong, and I don't feel he deserves to be pulled out by default because Christian Pulisic is fit. Keep Callum Hudson-Odoi right there. Obviously, down the middle, you've got man like Kai Havertz, who has been having very good games as well. He's been playing a lot better. His movement has been bringing other players into play very well, man. And I think if you look back at that Newcastle game, you'll just see how pivotal he was for our victory. So big up Kai Havertz. I just want to see him get on the score sheet a lot more. I'm not going to over-criticize him for it. That's just something I would personally like to see, but I'm not going to over-judge him on that one because I know his primary role is not a number 9, is not a striker. But on the other side of him, I would put Mr. Christian Pulisic. We have missed him, and I do think he's dynamic and good enough and skillful enough and quick enough and witty enough to work on that right wing as well as he does on that left wing. Christian Pulisic, I will have some patience with him. If he doesn't put in a 10 out of 10 performance for the next couple of games, I will not blame him because he's just come back from a lengthy layoff, is getting back into his stride, is still trying to get that match practice back. So let's not be too harsh on Pulisic if he doesn't do as he expects. If he does, then great, and that's just even better for our running for this title challenge. But as far as the prediction's concerned for me, I'm going to stick with my original one that I did say on back again. That is 3-0 Chelsea. I do believe we'll keep another clean sheet, and I do think that we will get goals. The goals are not going to stop, and we're going to prove doubters wrong. I am going to say this though. I still don't care where the goals are coming from, whether they come from our wing-backs, centre-backs, midfielders. I don't care if it comes from the medical staff or Tuchel himself. As long as the goals go in and we don't concede any, that's what matters to me, yeah? And while I'm at that, up the Chelsea, you get me? It's time to be happy. Listen, I know it's 10 games in. You got to look at who we've played. You got to look at our defensive record. You got to look at our goal scoring record, man, and just live in the moment and accept it's positive times. You get me? And before I actually forget, because I was actually going to sign off on that, remember, although yes, Manchester United, chances are they'll get themselves battered, but if they do have any kind of huevos, you get me, any kind of cojones, any kind of, you get me, some kind of balls, blood. Yeah, this is the Manchester derby. This is your opportunity to get yourself back some pride, and you've got the players to do so. You've got the attack to devastate Manchester City. You get me? Ronaldo always has his firing boots on. Greenwood, get them firing boots on. You get me? Rashford, get them firing boots on. You get me? It can be done, but obviously Man City and Man City, Manchester United are kind of in turmoil on the field as well at the minute. So it remains to be seen. Yes, they did get a victory against Spurs. Hopefully that will encourage them to put in better performances against Manchester City. And obviously Liverpool have got West Ham away, who have been a very, very, very impressive side. They have continued on from their form of last season and have brought it into this season. David Moyes seems to be doing absolute wonders with that squad. And it looks like Said Benrahma is looking better and better under David Moyes, which he's going to be a key player for them against Liverpool, as is Mr. Declan Rice, who has not put in a foot wrong. And then you've got Mikel Antonio, who just cannot stop scoring. It's going to be a very difficult game for Liverpool, who have been a little shaky away, if you remember. the 3-3 against Brentford, and they did draw 2-2 with Brighton as well. But off the back of that, saying that both teams do have their backs against the wall, and that can be very dangerous for their oppositions, and they may make examples of them and get themselves back on track. Obviously, I'm hoping for that not to happen, but even if they do, what does it matter? You get me? We're doing our job, we're winning our games. Who gives a fuck what everybody else is doing, right? That really should be the bottom line of it. And on that note, thank you very much for joining me. And hopefully we will see ourselves get 3 points this weekend, and hopefully nobody else will. You get me? But on that note, please make sure before you leave, like, share, subscribe, leave them thoughts down there in the comments as well, man. I love you guys' interactions. And also follow the social medias as well. They seem to be growing quite a bit. I don't really mention them, but give them a follow. I do try and interact on there. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not really the best with the Twitter thing or the Instagram thing. You get me? The social media, the YouTube thing, they being behind the camera, that's really it for me. You get me? That's what I'm good at. But the other ones I will try and work on. But if you want to follow them socials, they are right there for you to follow. But yes, man, up the Chelsea, another 3 points, another clean sheet, I beg, and on to the following week, which is actually going to be the international breaks. For fuck's sake, I hate that break so much. You get me? But yeah, man, to everyone that's watching, whatever time it is in the world, whatever you're doing, please just be safe. You get me? Bless.